What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please do not use gendered language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail?
Well, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dave on NBC.
Jack Marius Tac-Theratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Dave Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guy.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Mumbai Kutapi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
We cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
And uncovering the centuries-long plan for world domination.
Learning about Cuba, having some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Swangled and Fort Lauderdale?
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears hardware department.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, Macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host,
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault. He was a retard. I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. Thanks for checking us out. Whether you are watching on Ickonic or you are listening wherever podcasts are served, we certainly do appreciate it. We know that you have 850,000 other podcasts to choose from. And the fact that you found us is amazing, and we are humbled and appreciate it so much. We couldn't do this show without the amazing support of our sponsor, Scribd. If you are into audiobooks or ebooks or e-magazines, you have to check out Scribd. It's $9.99 a month. You have unlimited access to all of their products. You can try the first 30 days for free. If you don't like it, just simply cancel anytime. Doesn't cost you anything. The best books and audiobooks are waiting for you on Scribd. Get into it and check it out. A link is in the description box below. And our second sponsor is CuriosityStream. I am so into documentaries. I've watched everything there is to watch on Netflix, but CuriosityStream has thousands of documentaries and television shows available for you to stream on your laptop, your television, your phone, your tablet. Worldwide access. You can view it offline. They have high definition quality. It's only $2.99 a month. That's 10 cents a day. Give me a break. Everybody's got access to 10 cents. You can find it in the cigarette ashtray of your car or in the cushions of your couch. Make it happen. Check out CuriosityStream. Link in the description for that as well. And any support for our sponsors also works to support our show as well. We certainly do appreciate that. Well, somebody that knows their way around Ickonic is our next guest. He is the host of America Unplugged on Ickonic. He can be found on Truth Frequency Radio. He is Billy Ray Valentine. Billy Ray, how you doing from the Bronx?
What is going on, brother? I'm doing all right. I'm very honored to be on your show. I'm glad you have one. It's been a long time coming. And 850,000, probably they can't touch you. So it doesn't matter, right? Everybody, you get in where you fit in. For the longest of time, everybody used to tell me, listen, it's so oversaturated. There's so many people involved and so many people doing it. None of that matters. None of it. Right? You go right in and you get in where you fit in, and your audience will come if you resonate with them. And that is that. No matter how many people are involved. So if anybody's thinking about doing something and they're thinking there are too many people involved, there's too many shows, 850,000, go ahead and make it 851,000. and let's see where it goes, because none of it matters. So I'm very happy you got this going. What's up, Ickonic? I'm glad to be here, not in a hosting capacity for once in my life.
I'll drive. You navigate. How about that?
What's going on, buddy?
Well, you tell me, because as of the recording of this, it's March 13th.
Right,
and what
the 13th.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. And what has happened this week has been coronavirus mania. I'm not exactly sure when this episode will hit Ickonic, but no doubt it will be a couple weeks from now, and we will have a better sense of where things are. But this week, what happened was that the NBA canceled their season, the NHL canceled their season, Major League Soccer canceled, the NCAA tournament is gone, Augusta has postponed, and like anything, the virus that is going around is one component of this, but the government's reaction and the people's reaction to it is quite a different story. Right. It may be that this coronavirus peters out and it becomes something that was less of a big deal with kind of, bird flu or or SARS or one of these pandemics that was hyped up for a while and then sort of fizzled out. Obviously, if you were affected by it, it didn't fizzle out. But for the vast majority of the people on the planet, it was a non-event. Only time will tell if this is a non-event. What we do know for sure, regardless of the effectiveness or the dangers of this actual virus, what we do have for sure is the danger of the public's reaction to it and the government's reaction to it. And I know you feel like I do. Anytime the government gets involved with a situation, they typically don't make it any better. They only make things worse. The bureaucratic mechanisms start to gum up everything. Nothing gets done. It's inefficiency. You wind up with warehouses in Puerto Rico filled with bottled water that never gets distributed and things like that. So I don't know why this would be any different this time around with the United States government's response. And now you are in New York, and by all accounts, the tightliest packed city in North America, or in the United States. What happens if they clamp down on you? What are you seeing there?
It's not an if. It's coming. It's Friday the 13th right now. It's only a matter of time before they lock down New York City. And unfortunately, everybody's going to see this after the fact. But it's only a matter of time before they lock down New York City. This is established fact at this point. The media is still putting out there that, hey, they're thinking about it. Actually, I just got a text that Bill de Blasio, who's the mayor of New York City, is now admitting that it is a possibility. When I happen to know right now, on Friday the 13th, and I've known this for at least 3 days now, that it is a fact. It is going down, right? It's going down. They're going to lock up New York City. I don't know for how long. I don't know. Right. And I've been telling people to get ready. I've been telling people to stack up. I've been doing it myself. Now, I'd get the hell out of here if I could. I spoke to Jason Burmis not too long ago, and he was like, dude, get out of New York. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Mm-hmm. So all I have right now is the Lord, and he put me here, and I am here, and I'm going to deal with it, and I'm going to bear witness to whatever is happening. And that's just the matter. That's just the base of the situation. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen. I live in the Bronx. I don't live in Manhattan, so that allows me a little bit of cushion. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be full-on martial law. This is what we've been talking about as a community for how long now? This is what we've been talking about. Martial law, they're going to take over. They're going to do this. Well, here it is. Yeah. Right. And it's the coronavirus of all freaking things. Right. And when this thing popped off in China, you and I had conversations about it. Yeah. Over at, on America Unplugged and Don Jeffries. And I had so many people on to talk about this. And we were all of the same mind. Listen, this isn't a big deal. They're making it out to be a big deal, but this isn't a big deal. But there's one big difference with this right now. The government has stepped it up. Mm-hmm. And it's not just the government of the United States, it's the governments of the world. And this is a coordinated effort with the governments of the world. Italy is in full lockdown right now. Yeah. Full. Right. And I'm looking to Italy to see what's going to happen here. It might be worse. I hope it doesn't become China. If it becomes China, who knows what's going to happen?
Right.
Right. But I'm looking at Italy, and Italy is in full lockdown. First off, it started with the 16 million people. Then it evolved to the entire country. They're not letting people out. They're not letting people in. There's only a certain amount of time people can get out to go to the market and buy stuff. And then they have to go right back in their homes. They have to have some type of identification to even walk the streets. You know, and they're thinking about doing a full lockdown. As of this moment, I read today, they're thinking, meaning everything is shut down for 2 weeks just to nip this in the butt, right? And I'm thinking to myself, is this virus really that bad? Did we miscalculate? Did we underestimate this thing? You know, and I keep looking at the numbers and I keep trying to rationalize it, and I just don't get it. I don't get it. So 200 people died in Italy from March 10th to the 11th, 200 people. I think it was actually 184 in one day, right? And I'm looking at this and I'm like, my God, there must be something to it. But I'm not really looking at who these people were. Was it a nursing home and it took over the entire nursing? I don't know. I don't know that information. But at first glance, I looked at this and I'm like, man, maybe we underestimated this virus. But the bottom line is this, and I said this on the Infinite Fringe last week. Whether this thing is a killer is irrelevant at this point. You know, if it's a killer and it hits one of us, we are going to die. It is what it is. If it's a killer, if it's the real deal, hey, it's between us and our maker. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is. I don't want to die. I know you don't want to die. I don't want any of my loved ones to die. I don't want that to happen. But if it's the reality of this, then we got to deal with it. But I think it's irrelevant. I think what we need to look at is the government reaction, and look what the government is doing. It's a full takeover. Mm-hmm. We will never be the same after this. All right? And I don't want to sound like well, you know what? By the time you guys are seeing this, it will have escalated to a point that probably what I'm saying here is passé. Right? And I'm hoping that's not the case. But we will see an escalation. You know, and this is a bio 9/11 is what it is. Right. So and people don't get it when I say it. I had an argument with one of my friends today who I really feel, and then I'll let you get back in here. I don't want to go on and on forever. But I really feel like some of my friends just don't get it, you know, and they've always, you know, ridiculed me for the way I think and what I do sometimes. Not all of them, but some of them. And at this point, I'm like, dude, what has to happen for you to freaking wake up? They're about to lock down the freaking world. The world. Okay, because it's not just New York. New York is the first, it's not the first. It happened in Europe. But here in the States, New Rochelle is already, they called the Coast Guard over there, or the National Guard in New Rochelle, which is not far away from the Bronx. It's about 20 minutes from here. I have family up there. Not in New Rochelle per se, the next town over in Rye. You know, and it's inevitable that they're going to knock down New York. Now, Trump just declared a state of emergency for the country. That's the first step. They did it here in New York. What's the next step in New York? Full lockdown. They're admitting it at this point. It's a possibility, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. That means it's ready to freaking go. So it's going to happen to the rest of the nation. The European Union, I predict, will freaking lock down. I think it will lock down. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this airs and they've got it all figured out over there, and the people don't have to go through what we're about to go through here. But I feel like it's all going to lock down. This is a global lockdown. It is a coordinated effort. I struggle with it. I struggle with it, Charlie, because it's hard for me to comprehend evil. And I want to think that, man, if they're doing this, they must be doing it for a reason, right? They're not doing it to screw with us, right? They There has to be something here, right? Like I'm just trying, like my mind is just trying to come to grips with what's going on here. Right. And I'm like, man, there has to be some. But ultimately, from the numbers and everything I've seen, it kills people from 80 to 90 years old. Right. It kills people in their 70s. God bless. You don't want anybody to die.
No.
But these are the people that it's affecting. And these are not even just in their 70s. They have to have like underlying conditions. Right. And there's exceptions to every rule. So you're going to find 30-year-olds that died. You're going to find all kids. It's almost impossible that you find somebody that died, which is great. Yeah. And they're calling it a bioweapon as a result. They want to get rid of all the old people, or they want to get rid of the Chinese people and the people of Iran. They want to get rid of them. They're the most highly affected by this. Right. This is what's going out there. I don't know. Yeah. But I and I'm gonna let you in right now. I'm gonna let you in. But I feel I want to. Part of me wants to believe that what's out there is the truth. Mm-hmm. Because if it's not, it's worse. It's worse. I remember when Sandy Hook went down, and it was hard for me to say, "Hey, listen, I hope the official story is actually the right one," because it's so freaking heinous. Right. But then to think that they could come up with something like they did, or like they've been accused of doing, that's even scarier. For sure. Right? 9/11, I know they're lying to me about September 11th. I know that for a fact. So I know they're screwing with us from that, on that level. So now we're here with coronavirus, and I feel like it's a full-on takeover, and it's a bio 9/11. And I'm saying that because after we get through this, and we will get through it, after we get past this, the earth, the world will never be the same, because they are going to pass the most draconian crap you've ever seen in your life. Yeah. Vaccines out the ass. And they will and we will beg for it. You got it. We will beg for it. This is the perfect scenario. If you want to think about evil geniuses, this is it. This is it. We will beg for it because we want our lives back. We want normalcy. I want my life back. I was in school on Wednesday, on campus as I wanted to be. And they were like, nope, that's it. It's the end. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Why? And I'm here with you, Charlie Robbins. I'm on Ickonic. I have America Unplugged. I'm doing the Infinite Fringe, and I'm over here questioning why. Wait a minute. What are we doing? I know what we're doing. Yeah. But still, it's like, no. Like, please, just listen. Let's relax. Let's calm down. Yeah. I'm in the belly of the beast. I realize this. Yeah. Luckily, my wife is on board, and she's a beast, and she's taking care of a bunch of stuff. We're ready to go. We're ready to go for an extended period of time. Ultimately, after this, I think what we need to do is get out of New York City. And thinking about things like this is the way the government is thinking about it. What are we going to do to not let this happen again? Right. What are we going to do? We can't. Don't ever forget what the coronavirus did, how we changed our lives. We need to regain our independence from this coronavirus and live life as we used to live it. But in order to do that, we have to do X, Y, and Z. So we're going to have to, give you this app on your phone that says you don't have the coronavirus, and then you're going to have to flash it. And if you want to travel from state to state, they have the real ID, you're going to have to swipe that somewhere. And it says you don't have the coronavirus. And then everybody that they're testing, right? Because they have these tests going out, right? It's real nice. It's all good. They want to test you for the coronavirus. Yeah, we want to see if you're okay. What happens to that DNA? Good point. 23andMe wasn't working well enough, apparently, right? Or whatever, heritage.com or whatever the hell they want to call this crap. Now they got it for free. Yep. We're going to go, here, take that, swap that. Let me know what's going on. Go ahead and keep that DNA. Whose DNA was that? Charlie Robbins. Yeah, that's it. Check. We got him. Here we go. Here we go. Everything we've been talking about, here it is. I can only hope that we fall back and it's not as bad. Hey, listen, I'll be the first. I'll come on here, man, and do a jig for you guys, man. All right, because I want to be so freaking wrong. I've never wanted to be so wrong in my life.
Yeah.
Days from now, I won't be able to leave my house, and there will be the military outside in the streets. And I'll be sure to take video for you, and I will put it up on Ickonic, and I'll send it to whomever wants it. I already took video of New York. Just walking around downtown Manhattan today because I had to go to work, and I took video of my beautiful city, and I was looking at Union Square, and it's so beautiful. So many gorgeous people, right? And I'm looking at it, and it was almost 70 degrees. It was almost 70 degrees today, and it was so beautiful. And everybody's having fun. Everybody was chilling. I'm like, man, leave us alone. Just leave us alone. They're already up our ass 24/7. I'm like, just leave us alone, man. Why do you have to make it even freaking worse? We're already working for you 24/7. Just let us have whatever we have. It's not enough. So I took pictures, man. I took some video, and New York before the lockdown.
Ooh.
And I went to the subway, of course. I had to take the subway, and there's a lot of misinformation about the subway. Everybody's saying that there's no one on it. That's a lie. Tons of people on the subway. Tons. Took video of it. I was there. Tons of people on the subway. They're gonna lock it down. They're gonna lock down the subway. And I hope they keep the markets open. I hope they keep the supermarkets open. This is what they did in Italy, so I hope they do the same here. And hopefully we get through this, and then we have to deal with a whole nother shitstorm.
Yeah. I think it comes down to credibility, really. If we just boil this down to the essence of it, the information that we have on this virus has come from the Chinese government, the Chinese media, the American government, the American media, and the CDC. And I consider all five of those institutions to be distrustful, fraudulent, full of lies, no credibility, and I have a hard time believing them when they tell me anything, especially when it comes to something as important as this. They have a vested interest in lying to us. So my fear is we can turn on the television in some attempt to get the information about what's happening, but we have no way of knowing whether that information is true and that this one time they're going to give it to us straight because it's an important situation, or whether it's propaganda, or whether it's a little of both mixed in. I'm sure it's a combination of everything. So when the CDC comes out and starts talking about how we're trying to get the vaccine for coronavirus pushed through, and trying to, we've got companies that are working on it and everything. And we're, as soon as we get that thing ready, we're going to push it out. Well, I think it's important to remember and to remind people that the CDC owns over 50 patents on vaccines. They're a vaccine company disguised as a regulatory agency. They make the majority of their money from the licensing of selling vaccines, and they're in charge of the schedule and everything. That's why it's gone from 14 mandatory to 74 or whatever the final number is now. It's always going up. There's over 200 vaccines sitting on deck. So what are we going to do? We're going to push to get a coronavirus vaccine made that will have zero liability for the manufacturers. It'll be pushed by the CDC, which will have a vested interest in doing that. And who knows what it'll do to us, if it'll even work. Is it going to be loaded with, nanotechnology? Is it going to be loaded with something that will really make us sick? Is it loaded with something that'll spread even further? Like you mentioned, people are, they're gonna have to test you. What's to stop them from saying, like you said, you got to have an app on your phone that tells you whether or not they're
doing it in China.
Right.
They're doing it in China. I mean, we have to look at both situations. We have to look at what's going on in Italy, and we have to look at what's going on in China.
Yeah.
And China has kicked it up 8,000 times with the tech.
Welding doors to keep people in. That's crazy. And we're looking at China going, that's crazy. Those people are nuts over there. Oh, don't think for a second that can't happen here. I know it sounds nuts, but it can very easily happen. They test these things. This is a regardless of whether this disease winds up killing millions of people or not. There is no doubt about it that it is for sure a psychological operation, whether it's a legitimate one or a fake one. This is definitely going to be studied at a later date for how you control the population using the media. They didn't fire a shot.
Let me tell you something, man. If they got this down, there's no studying. We're going to be doing the studying.
Right. Right.
We'll do the studying, but the New World Order or the elites, whomever's controlling things, whatever you call them, whatever you want, they got this down to a science. They know exactly what they're doing. They got us running around like freaking maniacs. I just got out of the supermarket, man. It was a shit show. Yep. It was incredible. It made me scared.
Yeah.
I haven't been scared in this entire time that I've been involved in the alternative media.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been scared. Okay. I was in that supermarket and I was like, man, we are in trouble because people are losing their minds. They're getting upset at other people already. It's not even martial law yet. Right. And they're losing it and they don't even know what's coming. Most of them have no idea. They have no idea what's coming. Amen. The water is gone. Water is gone. The meat is gone. Everything is gone. There's some stuff around, but mostly all the essentials are gone. And it scares me that they're not going to be able to replenish this stuff. That's what scares me. Then we have a problem. Then New York has a problem.
Yeah.
Right? How are we going to do it? You know, and this is the model, and this is and I've known this for a long time, and you've known this, and we've all known this. This is the model of enslavement.
Yeah.
You get us into these cities, and you make us reliant. You make us reliant on them, and you know, we can't produce our own food.
Mm-hmm.
We have to rely on them for this stuff. So we're slaves from the beginning. It might be a kick in the ass for me to get up out of here. I love New York. I love it here, man. I love it. I don't know anything different. Yeah, exactly. You know, but when we get through this, I think I'm going to need to start making plans to get up out of here. And I don't know. Like I said, we may never be the same again. So who knows what will happen after this and what our abilities will be to maneuver around the country.
For sure.
This is real.
Yeah.
This is real. It's going to get really real for everyone very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in New York City.
Yeah. Well, one thing that is definitely been exposed by this and will become even more clear as things go on is that we have a real problem with our supply chain in the United States. We're very dependent on just-in-time trucking and shipping of products into the stores. We get up every morning. We go to if you go to the grocery store, the food is there, the water's there, the fruit is there. We know that. We come to expect that because it was there yesterday, it was there today. We assume it'll be there tomorrow. That's called normalcy bias, and we have that, and that's a decent thing to have. That's an understandable thing to have. And more than likely tomorrow, when I go to the store, there will be things there. But it doesn't mean that that's guaranteed. And if we have a situation like this, a crisis, what is being exposed to us, and hopefully the American people, or maybe the people of the world, but specifically in America, will wake up to this realization and will understand that maybe we need to make some changes. Maybe we need to make it so that our supply chain isn't fully dependent on other countries or coming from other states, or even from other cities. If we have the ability to grow our own food, and obviously you're not going to be able to grow your own, pantyhose or short shirts or shoes or whatever. Some of these things need to be made somewhere else and shipped in.
We also don't need 8,000 of them either.
Oh, it's of course that's right. True. Yeah, you go to Walmart, you've got a million choices. You go to Europe or or Asia or someplace, and the selection shrinks in the grocery stores where you don't have all these choices, and that might not be the worst thing either. Yeah. But we're going to get a dress rehearsal here, or maybe even a live run through of what it's like when the supply chain breaks down. Now, the virus may be dangerous and deadly, but it may come and go, and what may ultimately affect us the most is mass hysteria, governmental controls, government media lies, and supply chain disruptions, which can impact more, and also just a breakdown of civility. The people, getting in fistfights. We already see people knocking out old ladies on Black Friday to get themselves a $4 VCR, right? Or DVD player or whatever. Now you're going to see what happens when the food runs out. What happens when you have to get in line to get a case of water? Murder. Then what happens? Now we're going to see maniacs running. Savages. Yeah. So it's going to be dangerous, and it's going to be inconvenient, and it's going to be scary, and it's going to be all these things. But it's also going to be a fascinating study in sociology to see how people react to these sorts of events, and these maniac, psychopath, global elites. I use that term elite, loosely. They have got to have boners over this. I mean, this has got to be the greatest thing that's ever come their way. Bill Gates has to just be, all tucked in for a good long weekend of watching people panic. These guys love this. And that's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is that this is part of a depopulation agenda, and there's something going on that is much more nefarious than we even know about at this current time that maybe will be exposed later. And it's going to come from the alternative media. It's going to come from guys like you and me and everybody that's digging into this to actually first report on the story and then dig into what is actually being told by the news media to see if it's factual or not, because we're certainly not going to be getting the truth. I mean, if you think you're going to turn on CNN and Anderson Cooper is going to tell you exactly what you need to know about this and give it to you straight, you are out of your fucking mind. It is not going to happen. They have an agenda. They have a script. They want panic. They want fear. They want all these things, because as we go back to, you and I now are both on Ickonic. We need look no further than David Icke talking about problem, reaction, solution. We've got a problem. Problem is the coronavirus. What is the reaction? We're all going to die. Lock it down. What is the solution? Government is here to save you. Here comes the government to save you. Come to the FEMA camps, get water. We're going to give you the vaccine. Get the vaccines. Line up and get the vaccines as fast as you can. All of these things, it takes a certain kind of mentality to think about things in this evil way. You and I are familiar with that. We understand that these people think like that. The problem with the general public is that the general public still subscribes to the philosophy that the government is here to help them. And that is a big problem, because when you're thinking about things like that and you assume that the government is here to help you, you'll walk into a trap at a FEMA camp, or you'll walk into a vaccine trap, or you'll say, oh yeah, let's do a new ID program. Yeah, that'll be fine. Or fumigate my apartment with that mystery chemical that you're spraying, like in China where they're driving down the street, spraying this fog all over the place. What could possibly go wrong with that, right? Hey. We're going to have, like you said early on in the intro, we are not only going to have these things happen to us, we're going to demand them. And that is the most nefarious part of this whole thing.
Right, man. Robots are going down the street spraying all types of crap in Wuhan right now, taking temperatures on people, and it's a wrap for you if your temperature is elevated, right? There is a silver lining in all of this, I think. And the thing is, this is bio 9/11, right? Yep. So let's look at what happened after 9/11. There was a mass awakening. Mm-hmm. If they push this too far, I feel like they've already have.
You're right.
But if they want to push this further, people are going to wake up.
They always push it too far.
It is what's up?
They always push it too far.
Right, but
it's
I've
bound
never
to happen.
seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this. This is a global shutdown. I've never seen anything like this. Right? If they keep going, like there's a certain level that a lot of the people that aren't in the know will take. You know, and so many people are walking around and saying, wait a minute, what is going on here? This isn't a big deal. Why are we doing this?
Right.
They keep pushing. People are going to wake up.
Well,
they're going to wake up.
Yeah. I had a conversation a couple days ago, and I was sort of joking about it, but it was also kind of a little bit serious. And I said, I wonder when Ellen DeGeneres or Oprah is going to come down with the coronavirus. You know what I mean? Because they're such brand name people. Right. And the following day they announced Tom Hanks had it. And I went, okay, time out. This is just the sort of thing that the people in charge of this whole thing, would do, is to brand it, to promote it, to get it out there. If it's a fake thing, I mean, by fake thing, I mean, not that big of a deal, but they want to make it a big deal.
Not as bad.
How do you do that? Tom Hanks has it. Oh, no. Right. Now, people in the alternative media are waking up to who Tom Hanks really is, and they're realizing that dude's got some skeletons in his closet, and he's part of this whole group with Oprah and Ellen and all these people that are sort of like CIA vetted, you know, Hollywood puppets that are really good at pushing agendas for them. And as soon as I heard that Tom Hanks had it, I thought, okay, that might be one of those situations where they push it just a little bit too far. And all of us in the alternative media that already have our antennas up looking for anything out of the ordinary goes, ding, 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 ding. That's it right there. I don't know. Maybe Tom Hanks just legitimately got it. Maybe he doesn't have it at all. I mean, we have to consider that too. It's just the problem. Everything that I think about this virus goes back to my initial point of credibility. And the mainstream media has zero credibility. They're the boys who cried wolf. They have lied to us so many times about all the things we're supposed to be fearful about. And then we get a pandemic like this, which is a pandemic that by all accounts is not killing a ton of people. But let's just say a pandemic that let's just pretend that it's legit and we should be fearful. You've got all of us in the alternative media going, I don't believe you. You're the boys who cried wolf. You've been telling us to be scared of all of these other things for so long that we've tuned you out. And now is the time when we actually need to believe you. And we're like, I can do without you guys. I just don't trust you. Yeah.
Now that could be a checkmate. You know, if we look at it that way, they could have been priming us that entire time. False alarm after false alarm after false alarm. Here's the real one, but you're sleeping because you think it's a false alarm.
You got it.
So that's why I told everybody, I was like, listen, you think it's a false alarm? That's fine. Prep anyway.
Doesn't hurt.
Prep anyway. It doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't hurt. Like you said, if nothing happens, you have a ton of food, eat it.
Right.
Right. And I don't think this is a false alarm. Not saying that this thing is as dangerous as they make it out to be. I still don't subscribe to that. I could be very wrong. We will find out soon enough. They're saying that 140 million Americans are going to come down with this thing. There's 375 million of us. That's almost half.
Right.
That's almost half. But I mean, they're putting out this number and saying that we're going to come down with it if we don't take the right measures, meaning a full and total lockdown. Right. So they're putting that out there to justify what they're about to do. If we don't take these steps, then you're all going to get infected with the coronavirus.
Gee, where did I hear that before? If we don't get $700 billion for the TARP bailout, then there's going to be rioting on the streets and the stock market is going to crash.
Right.
So once again, we those of us that have a memory, we remember that the government has pulled this sort of stuff before in a variety of different ways. It's not always pandemic wise, but they did it with the bailout. with, gun to our heads. Got to get, Hank Paulson went out there and said, we've got to have this money by Monday morning, or we're going to just, destroy the economy. And what did we do? Oh, please don't. We can't have our economy destroyed. You know better than us. We'll give you the blank check to do that. And what did they do? They took all that money and gave it to the banks. And it didn't help us at all. And so, forgive me if I'm not ready to just stand up and be the first person in line to do what the government asked me to do in order to prevent 140 million people from getting it. I say we call their bluff. We say, then let's see 140 million people get it. If you're so positive of that number, we're doing nothing. You want us to do this. You want us to give up that. You want to swab us and make sure that we have to prove that we don't have the coronavirus before we're able to get on an airplane and all that. No. We're not doing any of that stuff. You think this is going to kill everybody? Then I lived in Vegas for a long, long time. I played plenty of poker. I'll tell you what, I'm all in. What have you got, government? What's your hand?
Yeah.
I get the feeling they've got a 2 and a 7.
And they got a gun.
But they've got a gun.
That's their hand.
That's the problem.
Yeah, they're gonna force it down a barrel of a gun.
Yeah,
and that's when things change. And this is why it's important for Americans to be armed. It's important. They wouldn't be pulling stuff like this off if all of us had guns, Yeah. But here in domesticated New York City, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. And in domesticated America, because even the majority of people that do have guns and can pull off certain things, there's still a certain level of domestication there. Yeah. We're domesticated. And as a result of the domestication, we become lazy and ignorant. And that's all of us, so I'm not calling anybody ignorant. I'm calling myself ignorant along with everybody else.
Yeah. We're also good people too. And so we also
very good people.
We don't want to think that we need a gun to defend us against somebody who's going to kick our door in and try and steal our water and our food and everything.
That's an excellent point. Most of us are always thinking good about the other. We're always thinking the best scenario. We're not thinking that there's something really malicious happening. We're good people for the most part. I mean, everybody has issues. Everybody does. I'm talking scale here. People are generally good. That's the way I feel. I could be, whatever. People are all over the place on this, but a lot of people are very trusting. Mm-hmm. Why would we trust a government that continues to lie to us time after time after time? Why would we trust it? But we still do.
Yeah.
That speaks a lot about the people that we are, the kind of people that we are. Not you and I. We don't trust these people,
Right, I know.
But in general, I'm talking about, but regardless of that, man, we're in for it here. I just want everybody to know, and it's not just New York, and New York is going to be very affected. It's going to be locked down. It's not going to be good. Italy right now, God bless you guys, man. Let's push forward over there. Yeah. Those are our brothers and sisters, Charlie.
Yeah.
There's no difference, man. This race crap that everybody throws on you, man. And what's going on now? What does black, white, Hispanic, Asian, what is that, Latino? What does that have to do with anything now?
Nothing.
Absolutely freaking nothing. Those are our brothers and sisters in Europe, right? These are our brothers and sisters in Denver, in Florida, here in New York City, in San Francisco.
Yep.
We need to come together. And what they do is they want to keep us as far apart as possible so they can manipulate us in situations like this.
Yep.
Right? This is what they want to do. And this is why I end America Unplugged all the time with let's come together. And it might sound redundant and it might sound stupid to some people, but in reality, it's the solution.
Yeah.
We need to come together. So what have they done here? What have they done? They put in Donald Trump, who is the most divisive president I think I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hit this. Man, they're hitting us with lefts and rights. We're in a corner right now.
Yep.
We got to figure this out, and we got to come together at the end of this, man. We got to make connections with our neighbors. We have to figure out a way to grow some food, even in these apartments, that we're living in here. And they call it the concrete jungle because I'm on the 6th floor of an apartment here, of a building. And things are going to get serious, Charlie. Things are going to get real. This is no longer speculation. This is no longer, us, oh my God, how did this happen? No, this is happening. This is happening. We're about to enter martial law.
Yeah, people are very trusting, and a lot of even the people that are sort of in the middle here that understand that the government does not have a problem lying to us, and they don't have a problem, deceiving us about a variety of topics. But I think a lot of people that know that still think, but in the case of something like this, the government will put all that stuff aside and will give us the truth because it's so important. We're desperate. We really need them to stop this nonsense and just give us the truth. And that is a dangerous way of thinking because the government sees this the exact opposite way. Not only do they not see this as the one time where they can put their lying and their bullshit aside, they see this as the perfect opportunity to ramp up the bullshit and cram things through that would never go through before. This is why we have the Patriot Act. We have the Patriot Act because of 9/11. Problem, reaction, solution. What happened? We can't have another 9/11 again. Whatever. Well, we need to, we need to be able to look through all your stuff. We need to make sure you're not a terrorist before you get on an airplane. We need to do all this. Fine. Just do whatever you need to do. Just please don't make sure we don't have another 9/11. And what will we see from this? We'll have the chaos that is coming that you and I haven't experienced yet, but we know it's coming. We will have, after we get through this, we will have people saying, listen, we can't have another one of these coronavirus pandemic, disruptions of the economy, of our social life, of the breakdown of society and all these things. Just do whatever you need to do. Right. Just make sure we don't have another one of those. Okay, well, mandatory vaccinations, real ID card, and make sure on that real ID card that it shows that you've had all of your vaccinations, or else you're not getting on a plane, or you're not getting on a train, or whatever. You're not renewing your driver's license until you've had all these things, but it's for the good of society. So we already know how this is going to be framed. Whether this thing kills one person or 10 million people, the response from the government will still be the same. It will be an oversized authoritarian response. They will line up a list of all the things that they've always wanted to do, but never had the ability to push through because of pushback from people. And they will say, what on this list do we think we can get away with now? And those things will get crammed through, and we'll say, give it to us, please. We can't have another one of these things. So we will be building our own prison cell. We will be building it and staffing it with the people that will be our captors, and we will walk in and hand them the key.
It's unfortunate. And we've been doing it for a long time without even really realizing it. But that's the hope, that we actually realize it. And I think after something like this, if they push it too far, people are going to realize it. And it'll build a resistance. It's only going to get harder from here, but we have a duty to push forward and try to make this work for us, we can't stop fighting. Even if we lose, we cannot stop fighting. That's not a justification. Even if we know we're going to lose, there's no excuse for not doing the right thing. You have to continue doing it. You have to continue doing it.
Yeah. What do you think martial law looks like?
Man, I'm about to freaking find out. Okay, I'll tell you.
I know you're about to find out. I'm wondering if we can speculate here for a little bit. How does that, at first, does that set people's minds at ease?
No.
Or does it freak them out? I mean, do they see this as the cavalry's coming to save us, or do they?
No. See, this is the thing. This is why I have hope. This is why there's a silver lining. It's not good. This isn't good, but sometimes things need to get worse before they get better. And people are not happy about this. People don't get it. They don't understand. Wait till they get hit with it. People are not happy with it in general. Wait till they get hit with, hey, we're locking everything down. Mm-hmm. They're not going to understand why. You know, some people are, of course, you're still going to have people that, well, it's for, it's the virus. We have to lock it down. We have to but there'll be a good amount of people that just won't get it. And be like, why are they doing this? Because in reality, if you look at the numbers, if you just sit back and look at the numbers for a second, you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. 1 and 1 does not equal 2 here. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? There has to be an ulterior motive. Mm. I'm looking at Italy right now. We're not going to be able to leave our apartments. We're only going to be able to leave our apartments or our homes, whatever, on certain times. Let's say from like 1 to 4 p.m. And I'm being generous.
Right.
Right. And you're going to be able to go to the pharmacy to get any medicine you might need. And you're going to be able to go to the supermarket to get whatever food you might need. And in the process of doing that, you're probably going to get stopped and carded and maybe a temperature check.
Mm-hmm.
And some people will be able to go to work. Most people won't. And then you go back home and you sit there until this is over. It's martial law. And there's going to be military rolling through the streets with big ass guns. It's martial law. That's what's happening, man. That's just the reality of it. Charlie, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you I was concerned. I wasn't concerned because I am. I am concerned.
Yeah. So they'll take your ID card. They'll say anybody with odd, whose ID driver's license ends in an odd number, you get to go grocery shopping today. Maybe. Anybody whose ends in an even number, you get to go grocery shopping tomorrow. Like they did with the gas lines back, with the license plates that end in an odd number, you get to go buy gas today. Right. The other, if it's an even number, you got to go buy it tomorrow. The control of society under the guise of keeping everybody safe is going to be a fascinating look at governmental control. And of course, obviously, I wrote a book about control structures. This is going to be the ultimate simulation in how to control a couple 100 million people, scare the shit out of them, make them control themselves. For the ones that don't buy the program, that aren't on board with this, when they come outside, make sure that there's some sort of physical deterrent like martial law, like a guy standing there with a APC and a machine gun telling you, get back in your house. It's not your day to come out, or do you work in the medical profession? No, then get back in there. And,
right.
You're not going to. This is, you and I have done shows where we've talked about the authoritarian rule of China and their social credit system and their draconian laws and the way they have things set up. And we look at that from afar and go, wow, they're really messed up. And those poor Chinese people that live there, they don't even know how bad they have it. And now we're about to get a taste of that. Yeah. And it's going to catch a lot of people. It's going to catch a lot of people off guard. A lot of people that just assume that the government is here to help them, they might be in for a different taste of this. But I'll tell you one thing that you mentioned this a little bit earlier, that is a potential silver lining to come out of all of this, is if they overplay their hand and they go too far overboard with this on a disease that doesn't their response is too great for the actual death/injuries associated with this. And a lot of people go, hang on a second.
Right.
What exactly are we doing here?
Exactly.
And if you get that response from the mass public, this might turn out to be a colossal failure for the global control system people, because they get exposed as trying to take a non-event and turn it into a catastrophic event, and the people catch on to it. It happened for me on 9/11. I think it probably happened for you too.
Absolutely.
Which was that 9/11 was horrible and it traumatized everybody and it was a terrible thing. And then it led to these wars. And then some of us woke up to the fact that it was not as it it didn't happen as we were told it happened.
Right.
And you start to dig in and you realize, oh, okay, hang on a second. They had the plans to invade Afghanistan sitting on Bush's desk on the 4th of September 2001. That's a week before 9/11. If we went into Afghanistan because of 9/11, then why were the plans on his desk a week before? Oh, okay, I got it. Now I understand what's going on here. This was always a setup to get the agenda that you wanted, and it woke a lot of people up. The bright side of this, if there is one, and if this turns out to be a nothing burger, is that maybe if the government overplays their hands, even more people will wake up to it, and it will prevent something like this from happening again in the future. Maybe. Am I being too hopeful?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll prevent something like this from happening again in the future, but it will wake people up, and the more people we have awake. See, the thing is, right? It always comes down to that one person. There's always somebody that causes a ridiculous amount of change. That may not be you and me, but we might have a hand in waking that person up. And that's all that we freaking need.
Yeah.
Right. So the more people wake up, we never know who the hell we're waking up and what that person is going to do.
For sure.
Right. So if things get really bad and people start waking up to this, it's inevitable. And I think they know this because they worked it into the 9/11 equation. But if they push it too far, they're going to wake some people up, and they might wake up somebody that ends this thing. Yeah. You know, that would be a beautiful thing. You know, that's what we need to hope for. And that's why we need to continue to work. We need to continue to spread the message, even if it looks bleak, right? We need to be Morpheus to the Neo, right? We need to be Moses to the Jesus, right? Or John the Baptist to the Jesus, if you want, right? We need to be that. And even if it doesn't look good, we need to keep going, because you don't know who's going to listen to this and say, you know what, damn, they make some type of sense right now. I need to do something about it. And then they're the ones that really get it popping off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's funny.
David Icke, you know, when David Icke wasn't always David Icke. Something woke him up and he became freaking David Icke, right? Same thing with you, same thing with me, same thing with everybody watching Ickonic right now and listening to this wherever they're listening to it.
Yeah.
There was a reason for it. So this is what we need to hope for.
Yeah, and I had this conversation with Richard Gage, too. He's talking about, you know, he's the head of, as you know, the head of architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth.
Right.
But he was just an architect that was building, you know, schools and high rises and things like that, until he heard David Ray Griffin on the radio talking about a third building falling on 9/11, and it woke him up. And you talk about you not knowing who you're going to wake up. Well, David Ray Griffin is on the radio talking about this, talking about 9/11. And this was a couple of years after the fact. And that one broadcast went out to thousands of people, but it went in Richard Gage's head. And it caused him to rethink 9/11. And then he started this organization that now has 3,250 architects and engineers that have signed the petition stating that the official story of 9/11 is impossible from a architectural and engineering standpoint. And he has started this movement that has woken up, you know, who knows how many people. So like you said, it's exponential. You wake up somebody and that person goes on to wake up 4 more people. And then those 4 people go on to wake up 20 people. And you never know who's going to be the one person that's going to go, okay, I understand this. I see that everything about this is a scam. I'm in a position to do something about it, either financially or they have a big platform that they can talk about. It's important for us to get the word out about all this, because you might sound like a crazy person to some people, and that's just kind of a price you have to pay. David Icke talks about in the early days that he would walk down the street and people would cross to the other side of the street so they wouldn't have to walk by him, you know, and people would point at him and laugh at him. But here we are 25, 30 years after the fact, and who's laughing now? You know, David Icke's laughing now because he was right and he was waking other people up and those people were waking other people up, and it starts this cascading effect. And at some point, and that is, of course, what they fear. It's what they fear is us coming together, for one, because as you mentioned, they love to divide us coming together and us talking, first of all, realizing that we have a lot more in common than most people think, and then starting the process of putting our heads together to find solutions to this. And that, of course, they just cannot have. And maybe this coronavirus is going to be just one more thing that exposes a great government lie. Maybe you and I are wrong. Maybe it's going to come in and it's going to be 10 times worse than we even imagine. And the authorities' response to it is going to be woefully inadequate. And we're going to wish that they did something more. I don't think that's going to happen, but
it's
what
if? Yeah, it's a possibility. You can't rule it out.
No.
So I understand. I understand why you're saying what you're saying. It's a serious deal. It's a serious deal out here. If you were out here with me, you'd understand the gravity of the situation. And I'm in the Bronx. I was in Whole Foods in Union Square today. It took me 1 hour to get up out of there.
Oof.
Because the lines were so crazy.
Yeah.
People are at least getting prepared, but I don't know for how long they're getting prepared. I don't know what they actually think is happening here. And I hope, it's a short time, but I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to pull off here. I really don't.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, so many people are telling me to get out of New York and I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm here. I'm going to be here.
You're holding it down. You're going to be reporting live from the apocalypse. Hopefully not, but possibly.
Well, and here's the way I see it. And guys, let me just prime this by saying I could be incredibly wrong. Okay, so please make up your own mind about all of this. Right? This is my opinion as a human that's living here. That's it. I think that we'll get to the end of this, that we're going to get through it. Not a lot of people. I mean, people are going to die. People are going to die. But we're going to get to the end of it. And I hope that the quarantine isn't as long as some people are saying it's going to be. But what we have to deal with is on the other side. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, I just want to get to that point.
Yeah.
And then we'll deal with it. I got kids,
Yeah.
If I was by myself, I really wouldn't give a shit.
Right.
But I'm not. So I need certain things to fall. I need things to just die down. And we can get back to some type of normalcy. Because it's not going to be normal here. It's already not normal here. Yeah. But it's going to get crazy really, really soon. And while I'm here and I have access to the internet and I can report out, I will. Yeah. I will do it for as long as I can. If you don't hear from me anymore, something's up.
Yeah.
Either I got taken to a FEMA camp or whatever. But and it's a possibility, Charlie. It's not. This isn't a game.
No,
they're setting up to freaking FEMA camps all over the United States. So this is why I think it's going to be a nationwide lockdown. It's going to be nationwide, and then possibly global.
Mm.
It's serious. It's a serious deal. But I'm here, and all I can do is pray to God that He. Blessed, and I'm blessed. I've been blessed my entire life.
Yeah.
I've been so blessed. I ain't got no money. I'm broke as hell. I quit my job. I was fine before.
Right.
But I was never a rich man. But now I'm broke.
You got it where it counts, though.
Man, and I realize this. And even till right now, I am incredibly blessed. I'll tell you a story real quick.
Please.
3 days ago, I was still on the fence. I knew it was going to be something, but I didn't think it was going to be what it was going to be, And I've said it before that I see numbers all the time. You know, I see 11-11 often, see 10-10-10 often. You know, and it's gotten to a point where I see them, I'm just like, oh, thank you, God, and I keep it moving because I see it so often. But I saw about 5 times in a row 1-1-1, and I'm like, man, what the hell? Why that? I go look it up. Pretty much telling you, you know, you're gonna attract what you're putting out, but it's also telling you get ready. Get ready. Like shit. Let me go get ready. You know, and then it soon became really evident what was going down. You know, I was in school and I am a teacher's assistant for a class. So there's a lot of people that know me that I don't know. About 100 people in his class, and this one guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, listen, man." And he's like, "I know who you are, or whatever." Like, "Hey, you know," and he's like, "You know, the midterm is because we were prepping for a midterm, and he's like, the midterm is canceled because we don't have class tomorrow. That was Wednesday. This is Thursday. That there would be no class." And he's like, "Hey, listen, man, they're sending me away." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You know, I'm military. They're deploying me." Whoa. I got my bag right here. Showed it to me. I'm like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "What are they going to have you do?" It's like, "They're going to have me police quarantines." I'm like, "Dude, in the United States?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "My God." Right? Holy crap, you know? And that was it, you know? That was it. And then I get other people in the north. I worked for a rather large corporation for a long time, so I knew a couple of things that were going down before most, just because I still know people in the organization. And so I knew of some of the shutdowns that were coming sports-wise. You know, I didn't know that they were going to cancel seasons. I didn't know that. Yeah. But I knew something was up. But then a doctor, a friend of mine, just confirmed everything. She's like, "Hey, listen, they're going to lock down New York. Only emergency vehicles are going to be allowed on the street. Only people, essential personnel will be allowed out. That's it. Everybody stays home. Stack up. Get ready." Wow. That's it. So we might be in the belly of the beast here. It might be, it might go really, really wrong here, and the rest of America is okay. If that's the way it has to be, it has to be. But I think they're going to shut down all of America. Of course, being in a big city doesn't make it any easier. You know, right. So New York, LA, San Fran. Oh my gosh. God bless those people.
Yeah,
you know,
those people won't even be allowed to shit on the sidewalk anymore.
That's it. They're going to have to find somewhere else to take a crap.
They'll have to use actual toilets.
Talk about a silver lining, Mr. Robinson, you know.
He's Billy Ray Valentine. You can check him out on Ickonic, on America Unplugged, and on TFR Live for the Infinite Fringe. Billy Ray, you're the best, man. Take care of yourself. We'll be checking in with you later.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Thank you. All right, everybody. I hope you like the show. If you enjoy it, please share it with your friends and family. We're not going to leave this up to the algorithm. We're going to have to get the word out ourselves. Thanks a lot. Take care, everybody.